Hey, Happy New Year. Well, it's not New Year yet here, but by the time the video is posted, I think it'll be New Year, maybe. And in case you're wondering, why am I suddenly making videos? First of all, 2021 has been a long year, and it's not just for me, but I think for a lot of people too. I was quite proud of what I did. I think I was working on like 9 book covers, 3 picture books, a graphic novel that was like 198 pages long. What else? I did several others, editorials and commercial illustrations. Oh, and I was also working on um, online classes and community for illustrators here in Indonesia. But to be honest, I was like this close to um, getting burned out. And so yeah, that's also why I'm starting making more videos. I just want to try making contents and creating art that I really care about. Trying to dial down a little bit on the work itself, as in work, illustrations for clients, and trying to make more of my work, like my personal art, into my work. And so I'm not trying to brag, or I'm not trying to push anyone into this, hustle culture. But I think last year was too much for me. And I want to kind of evaluate it and share what I've learned. And the biggest thing that I learned wasn't really about art, but about management. Things like time management, how I manage and how I handle my assets. And definitely now I kind of know when, why, and what to say yes and what to say no when it comes to projects. Alright, the first thing is about time management. I know I was like working on so many projects. Sometimes I'll be working on 5, 6, 7 projects simultaneously. And I've always been more of like an organized person, but this year was crazy. And this is how I managed it. If you look at the timetable here, that's basically how most of my days look like. I break them down kind of like period style when you go to school. You have first period, second period, and all that. And so I always start my day with the longest periods, and usually I put the biggest projects there. Like for, I don't know, I think September, October, November, I put the picture, sorry, not the picture book, but the graphic novel first because it was very intensive. I had to do line works, I had to do coloring, detailings, and all that. So it took a lot of energy, and I want to be fresh when I get into it. So I put that in the beginning of the day, and also I give the most time for that. And then the second period, I would put a picture book because after lunch, usually I feel a little bit more relaxed. I'm slower, but at the same time, I can still focus. And then after that, I would be working on smaller projects like book covers or editorials or whatever it is. If you see at the end of the day, I always kind of have like this small period that is a buffer. So, in case anything happened, in case I was tired or I was taking a nap, I would kind of like do what I should be doing that period of time at the end of the day. So the reason why I broke it down into this school period kind of style, it's because I feel like I should treat time just like how I treat money. I should put how many percents into which jar, how many percents into another jar. So I'm doing the same with time. When I break it down into several projects a day, first I can focus better because I'm not bored. And second, when I'm looking at the same project for too long, I start noticing too much of the details and I forget to zoom out and look at the big picture. So I tend to give better quality work when I jump between projects instead of just sitting on one and spending my whole day, like 24 hours, just working on it. By breaking it down into several projects into the same day, I can be working on the sketches in the morning, and then I'll be sending it to that client, waiting for a feedback, and then while waiting, I'll be taking another job and working on other aspect of that job. And if you can see on my timetable here, I mark my feeding period like breakfast, lunch, dinner in orange, but I also have this like gray colored area for exercises, socializing, and basically every other thing that is not art related. And this kind of brings me to my second point about managing my assets. So what do I mean by assets? Well, when we think about it, our time is our assets, right? Like we can exchange time for money, for skill. But at the same time, we have other things like our health and our relationships, where we get our inspirations, our lifestyle, and all that. And to me, as an illustrator, all those factors are important for me to create my work so that I don't get burnout and I can keep being inspired. So, what I mean by managing my assets is that I know I've been taking a lot of projects, but instead of piling it onto myself and, you know, adding my work hours within the day, like 18 hours, 20 hours, and then 22 hours, I try to just allocate a certain amount of time to work, and I cannot go beyond that. So what I did was that instead of doing everything by myself, I hired assistants. And one of the benefits of having a lot of projects is that I have extra money that I can spare to hire assistants. So when I take projects, I don't think about it just project money, time, money. But when I'm taking it, I'm thinking about exposure, how many more people are going to see my work, and whether or not this will lead to passive income. So for example, some of these books that I'm taking, they're very labor intensive. And if you think about it, book covers actually pays more per picture than picture books. But picture books will lend me into royalties in the future. So that's kind of like passive income for me for the next few years at least. And you're not limited to just taking picture book projects if you want to have passive income. Try to think about it like if you have some spare money, try to buy some time that you can invest for your future. So for example, this year it's not really this year, it was 2019, I grew this page called Illustrator. It's an illustration page for Indonesian that teaches people how to be professional illustrators. Through building this page, I published books, created some products, and also published some PDFs that help people count their taxes, help people with contracts, invoices, and all that. And because all these resources are now online and they're now out for sale, I don't really have to work to earn some money. They are basically passive income for me. The last thing that I learned this year was really how to say and why and when to say yes or no to a project. So last year, when a lot of projects came in, when my agent Chad brought a lot of cool projects, I wanted to try everything. And it's not because I'm greedy, but also because I'm not really sure what I really like. But at the same time, because I took so many, I started spreading myself too thin. And at the same time, not just myself, but my personal branding became somehow diluted because I was focusing too much on the projects. And there's so many different things going on that there's no one real red lines. You want to pick and choose the projects that not only you enjoy, but they fit your personal branding. And what do I mean by that? If you like doing fantasy work and you're really good at it, if you're a fantasy illustrator, but there's a project that pays really well, but it is completely different than what you're doing. You might want to take it, but if money is the only reason you want to take it and you don't need that much money, to be honest, you might want to reconsider and use the time to take other projects that fit your personal branding more. It's because when you take projects that are cohesive and they speak to yourself and they speak to your audience, you develop this image, this branding, this consistency to your portfolio. And when you're a specialist, people are willing to pay more. For example, well, I love a bodega, right? Like you can get anything there, it's cheap, it's convenient, you will go there for anything. But if you want to spend $100 for dinner, you will probably go to an omakase sushi restaurant. So that's the same kind of thinking for illustration as well. So yeah, that's basically how my year was. I cannot share too many details on a lot of the projects, but if you're interested to hear more about how I got these projects, or how I worked on them, or if I can disclose any of them, just let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear more about being a freelance illustrator, you can subscribe and don't forget to like this video and turn on the notifications because I'll try to post more videos from now on. Well, anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that your 2022 will be full of blessing, you'll be enjoying it, and whatever you're doing, all the best for your endeavors.